Hey, Michael with X-Force PC. I want to talk to you about the chips we're offering with the new RTX system here in mid-2020 is when this system is being introduced. The reason for the change is Intel has moved to 10th generation. You notice all these chips here start with the number 10, indicating 10th generation. And it also means a new motherboard technology as well, Z490 versus Z390. But we're going to concentrate on the chips right now. So this is an i5-10600. This is also an i5, but it has the K at the end, meaning it's an unlocked processor, meaning it can be overclocked. And then you have the 10700, which is an i7. So those are the chips. Now I'm going to skip down to the bottom line here and talk about cores and threads. The i5s have 6 cores and 12 threads. Now that's an enhancement. The previous generation i5 had 6 cores without hyperthreading, so it only had 6 cores, 6 threads. The new i5s have 6 cores and 12 threads, indicating they have hyperthreading. For gaming, for simming, this really does not make much of a difference. In fact, it can maybe cost you a frame, one or two frames per second. Nothing to be worried about, but it doesn't help. Where it helps is in productivity apps like video editing and 3D rendering and modeling and things like that. So if you're just gaming or simming, this doesn't really make a whole lot of difference to you. Now let's talk about frequency. Intel gives these frequency ranges here. So this is known as the base frequency. On this chip it's 3.3, and the max turbo frequency is 4.8. The highest the chip will turbo boost to. Here we got 4.1 to 4.8 on the K version, and 2.9 to 4.8 on the 10700. Now let's dive into that whole turbo boost thing a little bit more. Hey, Michael again. So let's talk about Intel's turbo boost technology. So you see this frequency range of 3.3 to 4.8. 4.8 is the max turbo frequency. So if all situations are ideal, power delivery is good, the temperature of the chip is very low, and you only have a single core load, you can hit that 4.8. I don't know that I've ever actually seen a chip hit the max turbo frequency. It's probably happened when I wasn't looking, but it almost, I mean, this is almost a theoretical here. It rarely happens. Rarely happens. So we have something here called the real world sustained speed. So this means if we throw a 100% load at the chip, what frequency will it maintain and stay there forever? And on that chip, because we have good cooling, we're using a good tower cooler, not the included box cooler that comes with this from Intel. We would not use that. Because we're using a better cooler, we're maintaining 4.5 gigahertz in perpetuity. Now, when we move over to the K version, things get a little bit different. Because it's an unlocked chip, we can enable something called enhanced turbo, also called multi-core enhancement, various other things. But what it tells the chip is, stay at the max single core turbo frequency, which is 4.8, forever. Okay? We tell the chip, hey, it's okay. We've got the cooling. We've got the power delivery. Go to that max turbo frequency and stay there and don't come down. Ignore Intel's little rules about how long you can be up there and how many cores can be loaded. So we can load all 6 cores, 12 threads, 100%, stay at 4.8 forever. Then that is the max turbo frequency. And that's the only way you're really ever going to see the max turbo frequency, in my opinion. I never really see it. As you see here, the highest I saw on this chip is I think it got to like 4.7 in some cases, but the sustained 100% load is 4.5. The 10600K again, unlocked chip, multi-core enhancement enabled, 4.8 all the time, all day. Now, we come over to the 10700. You notice we have 8 cores and 16 threads here. So we have 2 more cores. And if you're doing productivity work like video editing, 3D modeling, rendering, those things I mentioned earlier, those extra cores can help your performance. But if all you're doing is simming right now at least, you don't need those 2 extra cores. What you need is clock speed. Now this particular chip has a 2.9 to 4.8 frequency range, and what we saw is real world sustained speed, 100% load or running X-Plane all day, 4.6 is what we were seeing. And the reason for not seeing 4.8 is that it doesn't have a K on the end. It's not unlocked. So there's no way to enable multi-core enhancement or enhanced turbo on it. So if you go to the 10700, you're giving up a little bit of frequency over the 10600K, but you're gaining 2 more cores, which again, right now in X-Plane or any gaming, doesn't benefit you. There may be some rare use cases where 8 cores can help, but it's very, very unusual for gaming to benefit from these 2 additional cores right now. So there's sort of the overview of the chips. So let's talk about value now. So we're looking at going from here to here costs you $100. So you're looking at, what is that, 5% performance increase, something like that for $100. Debatable whether it's worth it or not, but if you're running something pretty extreme like 4K or whatever, you need every last ounce of performance, then maybe you consider this upgrade. It's $100 right now at the time of this video. This could change. It's like $100. Debatable whether it's worth it. To go from this chip up to this chip, you're getting 0.1 gigahertz more performance and 2 more cores. I think this is going to be in the $175 range. Again, debatable if it's worth it, but those aren't extreme numbers. $100 and $175 are not extreme numbers. So that's why I say you really can't go wrong with any of these. 4.5 is very fast, and then it's not a lot of money to go to the 10600K to keep that 4.8 gigahertz. And yet again, it's not a ton of money to get 8 cores with 16 threads if you need that. So I don't think there's really a wrong answer here as far as which chip to go with, but I did want you to understand the differences, the frequency, and what kind of performance to expect.